what do you think the next evolution looks like?
Are you podcasting me right now? Are you, you son of a, what is the next? I feel like I've learned so much in the past, even 2 months, 3 months. It's crazy that, I'm like going at hyperspeed in a startup, in a small startup. You wear a bunch of hats and you have all these responsibilities where you can't really take time to be like, wait a second. That's not what I got hired to do. What did you just say? You just have to fucking do it. And you learn by messing up, and yeah, it's amazing. I'm like I'm capable of more things than I thought I was. Hi, everybody. Today on Travel Nerds, I have David Nebinski. He is the host of the Portfolio Career Podcast. He's the Community Operations Manager for the Chief of Staff Network. And just a delight. He was recently mentioned in Forbes. Does it get cooler than that? Hi, David.
Hey, Connor Ann.
How'd you get in Forbes?
I'm excited to be here. I got into Forbes because I responded to an email.
Nice.
Many good things sometimes happen over cold, unexpected emails. Sometimes good things don't necessarily look like good things on the outside. So I don't know exactly what the subject line of that email was, but it didn't say like best new friend of your life that's going to change your life. Like, want to chat? Like, these things don't happen like that. Not a lot of like really good things always look good initially. So that's definitely, and I think it was like a Friday at like 5:00. And I think they said something about like, can you respond by like Monday morning? And I was like, yeah, I think I can do that.
That's so funny. Like, this is random. Okay. Where do we begin with you, David?
I think we can start with podcasting because I think like that's been the most transformational thing. And I think it's been the catalyst for a lot of great things in my life.
Amazing.
And that started the summer of 2018. And that started after I moved to New York from San Francisco. And when I was in San Francisco, it was all about like, what startup do you work at? How much have you raised? Like, and that was kind of like, generally the only main conversation. And then I moved to New York and I started becoming friends with people that were probably travel nerds that were like, what books are you reading? What's your purpose? Like what really matters to you? What are you creating? What events are you hosting? And like, I never really knew what they did for work. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, this is refreshing. This is inspiring. And then I left that startup that I was talking about. And then I started like, while I was trying to figure out what was next, I started like cobbling things together and I started really enjoying it, but it wasn't kind of that intentional, but I started cobbling these things together and I was like,
better.
This is yeah, right? Like,
yeah.
Wait, did something really cool happen to you when you've just like cobbled stuff together or like it was unplanned?
I mean, I feel like everything in my life is unplanned. I can't even think like more than 5 minutes ahead at a time. Every single time I make a plan, it doesn't turn out even remotely how I planned. So what's the point?
That's cool. Are there other examples of that too?
Of things just falling into place?
Yeah.
Yeah. In college, I said, fuck it. This is so boring. I'm going to move to Chicago. And I did that and just like had random jobs and worked in like creative industries. And then UCF called me and was like, what are you doing? You have to come back to school. I lived there for like over a year, just taking online classes. And they were like, no, you can't do that. So that was just the coolest thing, just to be able to say like, bye and do that. And then I moved to Australia and I had no plan. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me. No job, no friends, no place to live. And it all just cobbled its way together. So yeah, I mean, this job just fell in my lap. Best thing that's happened to me. So, we're just winging it. Everything that happens spontaneously are the things that seem to change my life.
Oof. That sounds like a tweet right there. What about Australia was so life-changing?
Oh my God. What isn't, just being in an environment where you don't know the culture. You don't know anybody to lean back on if you're scared. Just like having to be like freaking fearless and figure stuff out. Like I needed a job. I'm not just going to like sit around and apply for jobs online. I would just like knock on doors and be like, let me in. I literally like was standing at the gate of Fox Studios being like, hi, I have my resume and, can I get in there? And they were like, do you have an appointment? And I was like, well, no, but look at me, I'm in business clothes and I have my cover letter. And they were like, get the fuck out. They were like, who do you think you are? And then
what did you say to them? What did you say to that? How'd you answer that question?
Pretty sure I sheepishly was like, oh, no problem. I am American though. And I did go to film school. Never mind. I'm going to go home now. Yeah. But then I got a job at a film production company as an associate producer. So, in a different place, but it's all about just like the no's mean nothing. The no's just mean a yes is coming. And I've kind of always, is that another tweet? Holy shit.
Yeah, that is.
Damn, I'm on a roll, dude. I love when things are sporadic. What about you? Whatever happened good in your life that was cobbled?
Well, I mean, the podcast like literally was just like one email. So the podcast, and actually I think it was sent yesterday, 5 years ago. So, Seth
Happy
Godin,
birthday.
well, that's when I kind of like signaled interest in starting the show, or like I thought about starting a show. I wasn't necessarily really like, I think there's some people that think like I want to have a podcast for a long time.
Yeah.
For me, I wasn't one of those people. I was kind of saying as I kind of experienced this like change in worldview, unexpectedly and in a way that you just were tweeting about, but how all good things
tweeting.
come unexpected. Yeah. But I learned about this podcast workshop called the Podcasting Fellowship, which was co-created by Seth Godin, who many people know, and Alexander De Palma, who many people also know. And they're both amazing and huge inspirations and supporters. And I can't say enough how much gratitude I have for them. And they started this brand new program. And they were like, it's the summer of 2018. And it was like, hey, this is a real like kind of internship or like summer program. Like, it doesn't matter about like, this is not for people that are trying to make like big famous podcasts. It's more about people that are trying to like express themselves, create a body of work, like not about how many listeners or sponsors. Like those are definitely good things, but like this is a program for people who want to like create a podcast as like an independent personal project. And just the way that this email was crafted and the way that like it just, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, Connor, and is like sometimes like you can hear something and if you're not ready to receive it, it may not matter. But if you're like looking or like at least like subconsciously thinking about something and then like the idea or the conversation happens and you're like, whoa, okay, yes, that's it. That's kind of how it was for me with this email. So I then took this workshop, which was transformational. There was like 300 plus people all around the world that were all trying to make a podcast. They were all passionate about podcasting like you are and passionate about having great conversations like you are. And the energy in that workshop and that online forum was magical. And I had this idea for a podcast, but then I went into this course. And then at the end of it, I created a podcast, and here we are now 4.5 years later.
No way.
And I'm super grateful for it.
Oh my God. That's incredible. Just from, that's so you were probably subconsciously like, I need to do something more creative. Bam, email. That's so cool. What was did you have a previous idea for the podcast that was not what the theme is today? Or was your very first thought like, this is what I need it to be?
It was this. Yeah. I mean, the show name has stayed the same. Definitely like experimented some stuff along the way, which I think is great about podcasting. And it also depends on the topic, like too. Like if you're saying, I only talk to travel nerds in South Florida that eat at Publix, like, you might have like a smaller.
Where are you guys? Let's form a community. Oh my God.
Go. Let's go.
Let's go.
Then you might be, a lot more constraints. But for me, I had a little bit of or at least I've decided to cast a little bit of a wider net, which has like allowed me to, I think, keep going. So, every week it's been a lot of fun, and still feels like early days.
So his podcast is called the Portfolio Career Podcast. For those people that don't know what a portfolio career is, why don't you tell us?
Yeah. How would you describe it though? I mean, I'm always curious as to how other people describe it too.
A portfolio career would be your career is comprised of multiple different jobs that may not be under the same umbrella. Is that right?
I like that. I like that one. If you want to tweet that one, you can too.
Shit. It's incredible. I can't think of a tweet when I try, but here we are.
So I think you can have multiple things going on at the same time. Sometimes they make money, sometimes they don't. So like for me, as you mentioned at the start of the show, like I have a job as community operations manager for the Chief of Staff Network. And we also have another community as well. It's kind of a partner community. It's called the Biz Ops Network. And then I have the podcast. That's a personal project that I've been doing for 4.5 years. And like independently, I like both. But then doing them at the same time, it is great. I can move on to one, at the night or on the weekends, and like there's skills and things and relationships and hopefully some decent questions that I can kind of utilize in both fields. And so I think that for me, it gives me a lot of agency and flexibility, but also a lot of growth. Like with a podcast, you're always learning something new every single week. And I think sometimes with jobs can feel mundane sometimes.
Yeah, a little monotonous.
And I also think, you felt that before?
Are you kidding me? This is the first job I've ever had where I don't feel that way. Yeah, totally.
When you were acting, did it feel monotonous?
Not booking roles feels monotonous. It's like the chances of you being a working actor means, you book one in every 25 auditions. So you always have to have some random side job that you don't love. That's fueling your, life. It's paying your rent and your groceries, and it's not what you want to do, but you're like, how am I going to make money doing community theater to practice to be a movie star? It's impossible.
What about being a movie star was so appealing to you?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. I feel like, I don't know, my Leo ass. I love to talk. I love to be on camera. I love being creative. I was in the first thing I ever did when I was 8. So I think most of my drive to do that comes from baby Connor Ann being this is our dream. And it's fun with this job, seeing my dreams change. Now I would absolutely kill to be able to have a high level job at a travel tech company. Baby Connor Ann wasn't thinking about that shit, So it's really, it's cool how you can, I'm watching myself evolve from in here.
What do you think the next evolution looks like?
Are you podcasting me right now? Are you, you son of a, what is the next? I feel like I've learned so much in the past, even 2 months, 3 months. It's crazy that I'm going at hyperspeed in a startup, in a small startup you wear a bunch of hats and you have all these responsibilities where you can't really take the time to be like, wait a second, that's not what I got hired to do. What did you just say? You just have to fucking do it. And you learn by messing up, you know? Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's amazing. I'm like I'm capable of more things than I thought I was.
And do you think you developed that skill from like traveling around a lot when you were a kid, besides the Australia trip? But it seemed like you moved around a lot when you were a kid.
Yeah, I did. And I had really fun parents. My parents were always like, you know, they had the perfect lifestyle where they would say, okay, you guys are staying home with a babysitter for a week and we're going on this business trip to Whistler. Bye. And so they like still were a married couple who got to just be a married couple. And then we also went on like family trips and stuff. We went to like the Cayman Islands for Thanksgiving. So I was really lucky to have like a childhood filled with travel. And now I get to do it for my job as a grown up. Shut up. Yeah. So lucky.
Isn't that pretty great?
So good. Do you like to travel?
I do like to travel. I have not traveled recently. I did travel there earlier today. And now I'm back in Brooklyn.
Oh my gosh, how was it?
It was smooth. It was, I mean, it's like different kind of phases of the pandemic, but I think there was a time where, you know, I don't know about you, but like was inside so much, like did not go anywhere. And then the idea of traveling into the city just from Brooklyn, like felt so cool and so like unique and so novel. And it was like also made me like really like feel connected to the city after like so much that New York has gone through and we saw all the headlines and everything like that. It was just like
so hard,
but it was just something that like now I do kind of like normally and stuff, but I just remember some of those times it felt like so precious and which I think is so cool, like have access to like you can go on so many different trips in the city and around here, so I'm super grateful for that.
I was just gonna say that like I was thinking you live in a place where like you get to travel every day. Like there are a million different little countries and cities and experiences and cultures, and New York is amazing. If you ever like don't really love to travel, but you still want adventure, that is a place to be. You can just eat any kind of food you could ever imagine and meet any kind of person under the sun. It's really freaking cool. I love New York.
And is that why you like to travel, is to meet people, or is it the food, or which would you say is like the number one reason that you like to travel, Conor?
Oh, good. Yeah. Good question. It's like you podcast or something. I love that feeling when you're doing something new and you just like don't know what you're doing at all. And you just have to figure it all out like from scratch. I think that's why I love to travel. The food and the people and the architecture and it's all great. But like just seeing something new for the first time, I don't know. It's pretty cool. Like as an adult, like I'm an adult, you don't really get to do things for the very first time all the time. And I think, okay, this is a good example. I was just in Australia in January, and my girlfriend was like, okay, I'm going to go get yogurt in the grocery store, and like you go the other side and can you grab a few like passion fruit and I'll meet you at the checkout. And I was like, sure. And she comes over there like 20 minutes later and I'm just staring at all the fruit. And I'm like, what does a passion fruit look like? And she's like, you've never eaten passion fruit before? Australia, it's very common. Here, not so much. But I ate a fruit that I've never had for the first time that day. And as I'm eating it, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm eating a fruit for the first time. Like little tiny things like that, like experiencing something for the very first time. It's just such a crazy feeling. Your whole body is just like, what is that? Like,
and it sounds like that's like the same way that you described your startup life. So have you made these connections before? Like this? You're like, yes, I have, David. Wow. Come on, listen to all the other episodes.
I really haven't.
It's like this idea of like traveling is experiencing something new. And it sounds like you really like the variety of your job.
That's crazy. Yeah. I just like being clueless, I guess. Is that the theme? I just think you like learn so much about yourself when you're just trying to figure it all out, you know? It's crazy. Even like New York is that way. Every time I'm there, I've been there hundreds of times, and every time I go there, it's like, that's why I love that city, is because I'm like, where the fuck am I right now? It's amazing. There's always some new little corner to explore of that place too. And I feel like once I think I've seen it all, I'm just like always proven to be wrong every time.
I really liked how you said travel also is a way to learn about yourself too.
Yeah.
So what, you went to Australia, you said in January. What did you learn about yourself during that trip?
That's tough. I learned that I am totally perfectly fine being all by myself. that is A-okay with me. Yeah, I'm not usually by myself. So it was very fun to go and, you know, spend every single day just like exploring. And it was like the same thing I was doing the same things I did when I moved there the first time, but I was 20, you know, I was 21 or 22 when I lived there the first time. And now I'm 26, and I was like, holy shit, I have grown up. This is fucking crazy.
Yes. Did you go back to the same places?
Did you go back? Same places, all of them. Yeah. I didn't even really like experience that much new stuff when I was there, because I just wanted to like relive it. But it was amazing. Yeah. I was just like, damn, Con, we've come a long way. High five myself.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Another thing that I've been doing with the show is I wanted to combine, you talked about like the benefits of travel. The benefits of travel are meeting people, eating new things, shifting perspectives, you know, wandering around aimlessly. Like the list goes on, and you can probably put those in the show notes way better than I can. But it is about kind of meeting people too. So I wanted to, starting last summer, kind of unexpectedly as well, which is kind of a theme of the show episode so far. Unexpectedly, I decided to, a friend wrote a book, and I said like, hey, do you want to come over and I'll interview you and I'll invite a couple people. And so anyways, started hosting these, like what I call like podcast mixers, which is like in part interactive conversation and part kind of, and I hate this word, like networking event or whatever, but people getting together and, let me know when you're in town. And so then I, have been doing them. I think I'm now at an 11, and last 3 weeks ago, it was just a really, like I said, it started with a friend. And then this one 3 weeks ago was like an author that I cold emailed through a contact form on her website. And like at the end of that, I just had this reflection, and I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And how like I've come a long way, but also like so many people have taken a chance on me to get to this point. And so I think like part of the reason, or part of the journey of self-reflection is also realizing how many people have helped you along the way to become the next kind of chapter or version of yourself. So that's what I kind of had a feeling of.
What was it about meeting her that made you feel that way?
It was mostly like just the fact that like, again, like send an email, cold email. And then she came to my, to an apartment, and then like did this episode in person, and there was 20 people there, and like all that kind of stuff is like, wow, like
it worked,
5 or 6 years before, when I moved to New York, I like, didn't have that many friends here, wanted to start a new chapter, would go out on Friday and Saturday nights by myself trying to make friends. And then like to kind of see this new thing happen. And it's pretty great.
Being able to bring a bunch of strangers together is incredible. That is not easy. I could barely get like 20 people over to my apartment for a party right now. There's no way.
That's all you need. That's a great party. When is that happening tonight? Friday night?
Whoop, whoop. You know what I'm doing tonight? I am ordering hibachi and watching TV and folding my laundry. Friday night. What up? Yeah. Oh gosh. That's a typical
Hibachi.
Friday night for me. Yeah. That's like my favorite thing to get takeout. What's your favorite takeout?
Depends.
Oh no, you cook, don't you?
No, I'm a lot more of takeout. Wait, do you have something against people that cook?
No, I just literally cannot. So if somebody's like, I don't do takeout, I just cook everything I eat. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, there's really like Chipotle takeout. Online ordering a Chipotle. I think that more people need to know about that life hack.
Pro tip.
That's great. There's also another place nearby that has been making some pretty great burritos.
He likes Mexican food. Noted.
Yeah.
Noted.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Well, that's like really insanely amazing that you've been able to build an audience and, like engage with the community surrounding your podcast. Like how do you do that? What would you recommend to like other podcasters to get to that point where you could invite 20 people over and do a live podcast and everyone, loves it?
Yeah. One, I think people should read Nick Gray's book.
Totally.
The 2-Hour Cocktail Party, who I think was episode number 2 or 3 on the show. So
episode 2.
After you're done listening to this episode, go check out that episode and then buy Nick's book if you haven't bought it already. So that helps. During the pandemic, I was doing a lot of kind of different experiments. So I'll take a step back. So I started the podcast in a online cohort-based course that I was telling you about. Yeah. And then after the course was over and I started podcasting, that same program, they did the next version of it, like a couple weeks, maybe like a month later. Mm-hmm. And I somehow got invited to be a coach in it. And whoa. I know, right? You're like, why did they do that? So there's some good things of that, which was like, then it like was a constraint where I felt like, hey, if I was going to try to like encourage people to start a podcast, like I should probably keep podcasting. Yeah. So that happened. And also then we started doing kind of like mastermind or peer support type of calls. And so I started like dabbling in Zoom and learning different breakouts and all that kind of stuff in like 2018, 2019, which I'm sure there was a lot of other people, but like, I started like doing that kind of stuff. And then when like in 2020, when we were like a lot more online.
From what? Just kidding.
Yeah, right. Something affected travel. I don't know what it was. But I started like, I would always try to do like a new experiment, sometimes small, sometimes a little bit bigger, but like once a month. And sometimes that would be, like I would host an event with people that had previously been on the show, or I would, I created a course one time. I would, cool. So all these different kind of like things that like helped me like develop more and more confidence to try to like bring people together. And that was mostly obviously on Zoom. And then, yeah, so I think like what you see now, like has been, a byproduct of a lot of experiments and a lot of like small steps.
Yeah.
Which like, so like, I know you're at like episode 30-ish.
20. 30. Yeah. This will be like in 30s, which is crazy ass.
So honored. So I think that like, the other thing that's really cool, and it sounds like you're participating in that later this month, is like there are people that like are interested in podcasting and interested in like the show, interested in the topic. And like, I think it's a real cool way to connect with people that are interested in the same type of thing. So like, I think if you're I think you already with this show. I bet you people would come to.
Gosh.
Yeah.
You did a live show in your home. That's cool. Oh my God. I barely know how to set up this equipment anywhere other than this desk. I don't.
But you never, but I bet you, just like when you travel, you're forced to learn and grow the same way, Connor. And earlier you said how much you really like that when you're forced into new situations. And I bet you the same thing would happen if you were to do something like that.
I think hosting excites me. The thought of that is exciting. So like, tell me about hosting events. Like, do you do that often?
What about it is exciting to you though?
I think most of the people I would invite to an event just don't know each other at all. And, love strangers.
Wait. Okay. Let's talk about that. You love strangers. What does that mean?
Yeah. You like never, you could pop into an elevator with somebody and you're like, oh God, I thought I was gonna be alone in this elevator. And then you leave the elevator on the 8th floor and you're like, oh my God, I just made a friend that I'll never see again. How crazy. You never know what someone has to offer you, you know? Yeah. I'm that crazy bitch that sits next to someone on a plane and is like, hi, what do you do for work? Like, they don't want that, but I do it.
You mean
hop in an Uber?
Curious.
My Uber rating went down because I talk too much.
I think we need more people like you. We need more people like you. So, even though the rating went down, I bet you if you kept on doing it over time, it'd go back up. So don't be discouraged from that one small little.
I got picked up in the craziest shitty car the other day in Uber. It was like, I was standing on the curb looking for my car. I'm like, oh, there's the Jetta, the Volkswagen Golf I was looking for. And they pulled up like past me and the entire back windshield was just like smashed in. Not like taken off or open, but like it looked like somebody had just hit it with a baseball bat. And I walked in and I was like, wow. I was like, what happened here? And he was like, yeah. I pissed off a friend of mine. I'm like, this is crazy. Is this because my Uber rating went down? Is this why? Is this why you picked me up in this? Are these the kind of cars I'm getting picked up? Yeah, mostly.
So it went from 5.0 to 4.99. Is that what happened?
It's a little lower. That's fine. Whatever.
So you like talking to you like making new friends. It sounds like that's what I'm hearing, Connor Ann.
Yeah, I think moving a lot and being like the new girl in school, you just gotta, be like, hi, I have no friends. And that's like the best way to lure someone into being your friend because they instantly feel bad for you. They're like, oh, fuck, she just told me she has no friends. Now I have to be her friend. That's the secret, you guys. If you need a friend, you need to find friends, the first thing you should say is that you have no friends. Works every time.
Yeah. That's so much better. The thing that I was thinking about when you were saying this was I have a soft spot for someone when someone says, hey, I'm new to the city.
Yeah. Same thing. It's just like the assumption that like, oh, they're a lost puppy. You got to say it with a big smile on your face so people don't feel bad for you, just really smiley, be like, hey, I'm Connor Ann. And like, I have no friends. Like, what's your name?
Yeah,
and then they're like,
I have no friends in Orlando.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just have no friends. Yeah, that's a red flag. Yeah, you got to mention that. I'm new here and I have no friends is crucial. Yeah. Totally. I have no friends. Yeah, that's not the move.
Well, I think that's another like if I think for this party that you're hosting. You can still have hibachi at it. I know you might be wondering like, hey,
I was thinking.
like, yeah, okay, cool. So just to let you know, like you can have hibachi at your own party.
Okay. Just throwing shrimp into people's mouths, like across the room. That's what I'm looking for.
Really?
Yeah. That's the best part about hibachi. I mean, I get it to go a lot, but like when you go there and they're like trying to like throw food in your mouth at the table and then you miss and it smacks you in the face. It's always so funny. It's always so much fun.
It makes a good like shared experience, right? Of like shrimp. Yeah. So okay. So your party is going to have hibachi.
Yes.
And you're going to bring together these people that know you, but they don't know each other. This is amazing. This is a gift.
Let's do it.
When are you thinking about doing this?
I wasn't until right now. So I got to work out the logistics. Maybe I should do it in New York. I literally know more people in New York than I do where I live right now. So we're just going to do it up there. We're just going to do it,
cool.
in a cool, cool venue. Let's go maybe the West Village. Go to a little comedy club after. Let's do it.
You know the city. This is great. Cool.
I
didn't know when was the last time you traveled here?
It was probably like 8 months ago. Unfortunately, it was that long ago. But I went to La Lanterna and ate an obscene amount of lasagna, and then went to Moulin Rouge right after. It was a great night. Yeah. Saw a comedy show. We actually got we walked in, and then you know how they sit you next to a bunch of other people sitting at a table?
I don't know the details, but I'm familiar with this. It
was like
idea,
a gigantic booth, and we got squeezed in with 8 other people, and all of them were just the worst. And so we left 20 seconds later and ended up going into this weird little bar. It's called the, oh God, it would be so cool if I could just pull it out right now. It's called the Gnarly Pear or something. I don't know. Fuck it. I'll cut that part out.
Well, but you don't remember the bar name, but you remember the experience. And I think that's
of course
what happens a lot of times whenever we travel, we go somewhere. It's sure, the name of the place is important but at the end of the day, it comes down to the conversations we have,
how it made you feel. Totally. I had someone on the podcast. She's a venture capitalist. Her name's Nina Essandoh, and she was talking about that with products. And I thought that was a really cool. I'm such an empath, and I'm always talking about how I'm such a feeler. I'm so emotional. And she was like, yeah, the way to get somebody to love your product is how does that product make you feel? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, it can be anything. It can be any product at all. For example, this Yeti cup I'm holding makes me feel happy every single time I see it. I fucking love this thing. So why?
Because it's big, and because it
always is filled. Who fills it? Me. But every single time I pick it up, I'm like, ooh, there's more in there than I thought. I don't know. I just love this thing. And it forces me to drink a bunch of water, which I'm terrible at. And it has my name on it, which is a perk. And I don't know. It's just there's some products that you love so much and you can't really explain why. You're just I love it. I love it so much.
Well, I mean, if it's helping you, so it's A, personalized, it has your name on it. B,
hydrating me. Hello.
Hydrating you. I think that's important. I don't know. So if it's literally making you more healthy, that's a positive feeling.
Totally. And it's the first thing I look for when I wake up in the morning. And it's the first thing I grab before I go to bed at night.
Wow.
I didn't realize how much.
So it replaces the phone. This is okay. You win an award for the.
Oh my God. I should be an ambassador of the Yeti cup.
But also you could be a social media detox coach to say, replace your phone with
water.
Yeah, exactly. All you need to do is to get a mug that means so much to you that it replaces what you think a phone means to you, and will help you with. This is beautiful. I think you just came up here. Yeah.
Nina taught me so much about products. Oh my God, I didn't even know I loved it that much. What's something you just love and you don't even think about how much you love it, but you get excited every time you see it?
It's athletic greens. So I have athletic greens every morning, and it's not necessarily an excitement, but it's hey, this is good for me, just like the water. And I don't get I don't run to make the shake. I don't jump up and down. I don't do cartwheels like you do for water, but I am
The most basic necessity.
Yeah. So, but hey, and it's a part of like the morning routine, just like your water is. Yeah. And I really enjoy it. And I think it's been probably about a year-ish of like daily use. And it's like most things in my life, like, and this ties into like the podcast type of stuff, is like, I'm such a creature of habit. Like, it sounds like you are with your hibachi on Friday nights, but totally. Like when I find like something and I'm like, okay, wait, here's how I can kind of slot it in. Athletic Greens is that, weekly podcast is that. I think like we all have so many habits that we, that makes up like our daily lives. And like, if we can think about how do we have ones that are like good for us or positive and social, like those are great, but like we already do so many habits. Like, why don't we just like think about the ones like either that we can add new ones or remove ones that are hurting us? And maybe there's a habit of traveling. I don't know. Maybe we make a commitment to travel every 3 months, 6 months. I don't know.
Yeah. That is important, I think. And it's crazy how there's tons of people out there that are just like, I don't need to go anywhere, and I'm the kind of person where like, if it's been 2 weeks and I haven't been anywhere, I kind of start getting like literally anxious. It's like distance anxiety, meaning I need to get away. Like I need to be away. It's bizarre.
Whoa. But, distance anxiety. I've never heard that one. I like that. Did you tweet that one yet?
I think I just made it up. I'm so philosophical today. I'm like, God, you bring it out of me, David.
Well, it's 8 months. When you said 8 months to New York, I thought you were going to say maybe like 3 years, 4 years. And you're like, it's been 8 months.
It's been ages. I know. Yeah. Oh my gosh. We'll get back. We'll get back there. I actually got a text from my best friend today saying, can you come up next week to New York? Maybe I'll just do it. Yeah. We'll get dinner or something. Okay. Good. Last little chunk. I just want to go over really quick. Like, what do you do as community operations manager for the Chief of Staff Network?
Yeah. So Chief of Staff Network is an exclusive peer support group, membership-based group of chiefs of staff, mostly at tech companies. And the role is a very exciting role because you are working with a founder or CEO for the most part, and are helping, like, you get insights onto building a company, but not being the face of the company and a lot of the pressure of running the company. So it's an amazing role. It's an apprenticeship-like role, but it's also very challenging and can be very kind of isolated because you don't really have a team. You work with this person, but you don't have a team. So you get exposed to a lot of things, but you don't have many people to like talk to around the water cooler. I guess that's what like the cool kids used to do, like water cooler chats. So,
oh yeah.
So as the community operations manager there, I kind of focus on three things, which is like member experience, that is, helping people connect with the other people in the community. That is posting memes in Slack.
Crucial.
Super important.
Somebody's got to do it. Yeah.
That is also running and producing and learning and development programs. So we have different kind of like programs that help people get up to speed in the role. We found that a lot of companies don't really train or don't really know how to like onboard chiefs of staff. So we built curriculum to do that. And then also do social media type stuff, and then also virtual events and in-person events. And we've been doing these in-person kind of mini conferences that have been really great. Also in New York, a lot of great things are happening in New York. So
yeah.
So it's a combination of like events and learning and development programs, and then just like trying to help people find other people to solve the problems that are facing like their company's organization that day. Like, it's like the chiefs of staff have like, like you're an early employee at a company, right? Like how many different things pop up that you deal with? Like that's what we see like in our Slack, where someone's like, we need a new, we need a new bank. We need just
You're
like a
I've
lot
never
of stuff.
done that before. Yeah.
And someone's got to figure it out. So
totally.
So that's the day to the day.
Do you ever sleep? I mean, you just listed like 30 things, and then you host a podcast and you do X, Y, and Z. And I mean, that's great. That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff for one person. You like being busy?
I like being busy. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good quality. That's a cool guy quality.
Sure. There's probably plenty of other red flags, but I appreciate that one.
I'll tell you after the pod. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, that's amazing. Well, that's a very cool job. What's your favorite part out of all of what you just said? Probably these events, right? That sounds really cool.
Yeah. I think the favorite. So yeah, we did this conference in February, and at the end of it, I remember one person, I kind of asked for people to kind of like reflect on the day. Like, so it's 6 hours, you spend 6 hours together. And at the end I was just like, what stood out to you? What do you have anything to share with the group? And one person said, I'm more optimistic about humanity after today. And I was like, okay, for a very like corporate type of event, for someone to kind of feel that way personally, that really, that felt great.
That's incredible. And you like host and organize these events?
There's team, but yeah, that
must have felt so good. Oh my God. That's so sweet. Yeah. I want to go if that's the outcome. I went in on that.
Well, I bet you there's people, maybe not for this episode, but for the other episodes and for your company, I'm sure there's people that have similar kind of feelings of appreciation for the work that you do. And so let's encourage them to reach out to you. How do they stay in touch with you? How do they connect with you? What's the best way to like let
leave a review of the pod. That's the first thing. No, my email's connorann@allfly.io. I hate you for reverse engineering this whole podcast, you sneaky devil. You plug your stuff. God. Unbelievable. I just got bamboozled for an hour. Can't believe it.
You had to know. I think people who are listening to the show want to better get to know you, and they want to get to know your company more. So hopefully they were able to do that, and at the expense of hearing a little bit about me. So
sweet. Okay, do you do it now? You plug the things.
Okay. Well, first, thank you so much for having me, Connor, and this was so much fun.
I know that was an aggressive exit. Sorry. You do it, you
Your
son
turn
of a-
now. Go. Portfolio Career Podcast is on all the places. Wherever you're listening to this, it's probably there too. I have a Substack called Portfolio Career Substack as well. And if you're interested in the Chief of Staff Network, check out chiefofstaff.network. And contact information is all the places. I'm very active, or starting to become more active, on Twitter. So say hello there. Let me know what you learned from this episode, what you learned about Connor Ann. Thanks again, Connor Ann. This is so much fun.
Oh my gosh. Anytime. We're going to hang out soon in New York. All right, you guys, hello@travelnerds.co. If you have an idea of a cool guest or a One Question Friday question, send it over. At Travel Nerds Pod on all the things. And I'll see you next week. Later, nerds.